So I'm friends with the guy that owns the laundromat that I use, and we like to talk about business, real estate, stuff like that. But what kind of shocks me is just how often he's there. I feel like he's at the laundromat every time I use it. And I could understand that when he was just getting started, but now he has several employees. And it's just sort of like, why are you still here? You did this to be less dependent on your day job, but you also did this to be more financially free. And yet you continue to be involved on this stuff day to day and refuse to let the thing run itself. And the bigger problem is that since he's always there, he's starting to solve problems that don't exist. He's making up problems that aren't there, and he's doing things that don't really add value to the business, and it's distracting him from what he really should be focusing on. For example, he had a wall tiled that was just purely for decoration and really has no added benefit, and to make matters even worse, the guy who tiled the wall did a really poor job. And so now the wall really would have looked better had he just not done anything to it at all. So I could keep listing example after example, but the reason I bring this up is because I feel like Elon Musk is doing the same thing with Twitter. And his inability to relinquish control is starting to get kind of frustrating. So most recently in the news, last week Musk rebranded Twitter as X, but more specifically, he's had issues trying to get the signs changed in San Francisco. On Monday, he tried to have the Twitter sign removed, but he was stopped because they didn't have the permits to get the sign taken down. And last night, he put up this flashing X sign, which is very bright and shines right directly into residential buildings. And so the city of San Francisco has launched an investigation, but I think what this shows you is what the culture of Twitter is right now. It's very unorganized. It's very much come as you go. It's very much unfocused. And I think that's a broader extension, really, of Elon Musk's personality. So in this video, I really want to take a deeper dive and take a look at the changes that Elon's made, some of my frustrations with him and the changes themselves, and then sort of discuss this Twitter rebrand, my thoughts on it, and what I think his actual vision is, and really if it's going to be successful or not. So let's start with some of these changes that Elon Musk has instituted. The first one being the taking away celebrity verification. At first, I kind of tended to agree with this. I thought that the fact that celebrities get all these benefits of using the platform for free was kind of unfair. And in the age of being internet famous, the line between needing to be verified and not getting verified gets more blurred every day. And the fact that the verification rules were so arbitrary and not specific, that was just kind of frustrating. And believe it or not, since Twitter Blue came out, Instagram has changed the way they verify users. I think if you go on Instagram now, you see a lot of smaller people, a lot of smaller accounts that do a variety of different things are verified now versus I don't feel like they would have gotten verified before. But you tell me what you feel like about that. Now, while I understand we're trying to level the playing field on Twitter now, I still feel like some level of verification is important. And this is not just for celebrities, but this is just for every account. You know, I understand distinguishing Twitter Blue, I understand distinguishing like government accounts, but I still feel like there needs to be some sort of broad way of indicating that each person who uses the platform is who they say they are. Now, I get that a lot of accounts on Twitter are not people, but I mean, there still should be some sort of way to say that, hey, this is the original version of this account, and any other account created related to this is not real. Now, I know Musk said he's cracking down on impersonators, but that's, how credible is that and how enforceable is that? But just like a dating app, they verify your identity. And I still feel like that for every person on Twitter, there should be some way of indicating that someone has taken the time to validate that they are who they say they are. I was kind of shocked to come to figure out that I actually kind of appreciate having the following and the For You tab. What I like about that is that it kind of does fit Elon Musk's goal of a digital town square, in the sense that the following tab is sort of like your close circle of friends who you would routinely hang out with, versus the For You tab is kind of like, school, work, church. But it's nice because I feel like I have my close circle of friends still, but I don't feel disconnected from everyone else on the app. And I feel like for building community, that's very important. Now, the last change I want to talk about is Twitter's rebrand to X. And, I think once again, as I said earlier, this really speaks to Twitter's culture right now of everything being very rushed, being very unthorough. Now, while I understand the argument about why Twitter had to be rebranded as X, I think there's just a lot more to unpack there that they really didn't consider. The biggest thing being the fact that so many people have trademarked the letter X in a variety of ways, and I don't think the letter X is unique enough to make people be like, okay, X, I know exactly what that means. It's the brand recognition that I think is the disconnect. And speaking of brand recognition, My goodness. I mean, you can't quantify it, but if you tried, the brand power and the brand value of the Twitter name and the logo, we're talking about billions and billions and billions of dollars if they were to try to sell that trademark to someone else. And the fact that they just ditched it, like I said, I understand their argument, but if we're trying to build a larger ecosystem with a lot of different features, why couldn't Twitter have just been one aspect of this larger app? Now, while the name X is kind of a strange name to use, I'm not implying here that I don't think it's going to catch on. In the past week, I read an article about Elon Musk and how he's had this vision for this everything app for actually quite a long time. And really, this idea dates all the way back to his days of when he briefly ran PayPal, and he actually tried to institute some of his ideas there. And really, the simplest way I can describe what Musk is trying to do is the Chinese app WeChat, which is communication, payments, gaming, a lot of different features. And basically, Musk's vision is to have this world where your entire digital life is spent on this one app. And I want to point out here that this was actually quite fortuitous, I think, because as someone who studied economics, in every industry, there is consolidation over time. And think about all the industries today that are 100 years old. There's Walgreens, there's CVS, there's Coke, there's Pepsi. And that's traditionally the trajectory of most industries and most economic models. And I think Elon Musk sees that coming, and I think he sees a lot of consolidation coming within tech, especially as it starts to get more mature. And so, like I said, I think it's quite fortuitous to have foreseen that coming and trying to be preemptive and making that happen. And think about it, by broadening the capabilities of one app, I mean, imagine how many more competitors he's going up against. PayPal, Reddit, Meta, Zoom, Microsoft Teams. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on. But the advantage that X will have over the competitors is that you will already be inside X's ecosystem versus the other apps will have to continue to justify their independent use. So when you think about it that way, you kind of see a broader picture of this digital town square. I think when we first heard Musk talk about Twitter being the digital town square, I think we really just thought about a open expression or open discussion of ideas. But now that I've sort of looked into what his vision actually is, I think it makes a lot more sense, and this is an idea that I actually can see taking hold. You know, a town square is more than just where people express ideas, it's where people conduct business, it's where people interact, it's where people communicate, so on and so forth. And like I said, that is an idea that I can see actually persisting versus Meta and their metaverse. That's not really something I can see making reality, because it's not, literally. One of the things I want to mention here about comparing this hypothetical future app to WeChat is that WeChat is the largest app in the world. It has 1 billion daily users or something crazy like that. And so there's a lot of potential here for this app to really take off. But my biggest concern is adoptability. For example, I've been really hesitant on switching to a digital wallet like Google Pay or Apple Pay because of the lack of widespread adoptability by multiple parties. And the bigger problem with this concept is that there's a lot of network effects that go along with it. Otherwise, there's really not as much benefit. What I'll conclude with is that just like the laundromat guy, if Elon Musk really believes in this idea, if he really sees this going somewhere, then I would really hope that he would build a successful team around him. And just like he's done with Tesla and SpaceX, where yeah, he's involved day to day, but much less so than he has been in the past, that he would really try to find a team of really successful, proven people that people trust and believe in his idea, and really leverage those people to sort of build out this platform. Because not only can he not do all of this himself, but history has shown that when power is consolidated like it is at Twitter right now, bad, unpopular decisions get made, and they're to the detriment of the organization and everyone else. And you could argue that's exactly what's happened with all the changes that Musk has instituted at Twitter so far. Now, I'm not trying to be all Elon Musk is being un-CEO-like people were with Tesla and him back in 2018, but I will play the level-headed guy who likes to see people succeed. So, I hope Elon Musk is at least open to criticism and appreciates some feedback. And with that said, I hope this was an interesting elaboration on this topic. Thank you for watching.